Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm very crooked. Sorry. I'll just fix myself up. Bring the camera down a little. Hello, Karen Campbell. How are you? So I am just going to move that camera a little bit. It's a bit skew off today. Hello, Leslie. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera, and it's really annoying me, so I'm just going to move that up. I think that's better. All right. Welcome back to the fourth live for Friday as part of the Great International Online Show. I'm stepping in for Nat this afternoon. Hi, Leslie. I'm okay, thank you. I'm still recovering, but I'm much better. I'm crafting, so I've only started crafting last night. Hello, Amanda. So I do apologise if I'm a bit croaky or I need a drink break, but it's I'm up and I'm moving around. So I've had a week off work and I'm still not great, but I'm better. So let's kick on. Hi, Michelle. It's lovely to spend the afternoon with you. Hello, Miss Linda Pearson. And I'm sure you've all been inspired by what Nat's been creating, because I certainly have. My shopping cart is absolutely chockers. And if I wasn't making sure that the products I'm using today were still on the website, I'm sure I would have multiple orders in. Wonderful sales. So, of course, just a reminder, hi, Alana, 15% off stencils for today only, 15% off Tim Holtz products, 15% off Paper Rose, and of course there's all the big clearances in Christmas for 2023. Hello, Wendy. All right, so today I had planned what I was going to be doing before Nat went live, and then I realized we were using exactly the same thing. So I'm going to do some card fronts for you today, some mixed media card fronts, and I'm going to do a few different ones. So now the funny thing is I did have these ready to go for Paper Rose. I'm still going to use some of these. I'll use different ones to what Nat used. Hello, Marianne. Thank you for joining. And I do apologise about the glare. I don't have overhead studio lights like Nat, but anyway, I will move that away. So I'm going to do some stenciling, different techniques with stenciling today. I'm going to be using some Tim Holtz Distress inks and stains in the sprays as well. And I'm going to be using some embossing glazes. Now, these I believe are 30% off at the moment. I'm not sure what colours are left, but these are the colours I have and that I use all the time. So I've got Prize Ribbon and Salvage Patina. So what I'm going to do, I've got 6 cards to do. I'm quickly going to gesso. I've just decided last minute that I'm going to gesso 2 of these, and I have forgotten my water. I'm sorry, girls. I'll be 2 seconds. Sorry about that. I left it on the bench. And my household is quiet because they've gone to pick up the little one from daycare. So they've all been warned not to interrupt me when they come home. All right, so just quickly going to put a little bit of gesso on these 2. And the reason I'm going to gesso, I'm using white Liquitex gesso. It doesn't matter what sort of gesso for this. Is because I'm going to be using a baby wipe and some extra liquid. So just putting a thin layer on there just to give it some waterproofing. So I will show you, if you are new to Natalie May Scrapbooking, welcome. It's lovely to have you here with us for the 4 days. 3 days? 3 days. I am Naomi and I'm one of the brand ambassadors, and I'm just filling in for Nat for this afternoon. So I'm going to pop those aside to dry and grab a baby wipe. So we're going to do a few different techniques. And I don't know about you, but as a crafter, I really like to make my own cards. I'm not a card maker traditionally. I'm a scrapbooker. So I have learnt over the years to get creative with my cards. So I'm just using some heavyweight cardstock here. And to start with, I'm going to use a blending tool and a clean. All right, so I'm just using a Tim Holtz blending tool. These are 15% off. I've got some Ranger embossing ink here, and I'm going to start with some stenciling. So this one is a Dina Wakley Connected Dots, I believe. If you've seen me craft before, you know that this is one of my favorites. I'm a stencil cleaner, so this is quite dirty for me. Sometimes you just can't get away with it. So what I'm going to do is use my, oh, that's a bit dirty. Anyway, that's okay. So I'm using embossing ink. My sponge is clearly a little bit dirty, but that's all right. I'm using my embossing ink through this stencil. And what embossing ink is that it's an ink that's clear, although mine doesn't look clear, but that's because of my dirty sponge. Don't do what I do. And it takes a while to dry, so it allows you time to get your embossing powder or your embossing glaze as we're using today, and allow it to stick. Now, the reason this isn't going to matter what I've done here is because I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to pop this under here, and then I'm going to use my 2 blues. And I'm going to sprinkle a bit in a few different places and tap it off. And so because that's wet and it takes a while to dry, you've got some time to get your embossing glaze on there. So that's one colour. So I am mixing my 2 colours. You don't have to, but it is just a different thing to do. So I hope you're all enjoying watching the lives. I certainly have been stuck on my couch, so it's been a very welcome distraction and something to do other than watch TV. So that's nice. So now I've missed a few bits there, so I'll just add a bit over there. All right, so that is the embossing glaze. So when the difference between embossing glaze and embossing powders is that the glazes will, when they set with the heat gun, they will set see-through, and that's the difference. If you haven't met me before, I'm a designer for Lindy's, and I use Lindy's embossing powders all the time. They are not translucent. All right, another one I'm going to do, different stencil. No, I'm going to stamp with this time. So I'm just going to grab out, let's find something out of my new stamps that I have. And I'm going to go with one of the new Seth Apter stamps. I think, not that one. So if you've been watching Nat today, Seth Apter stamps are amazing. That's the one I'm after. So I'm going to grab this one. So this set here, these are his brand new sets. So this is ESA 40. and the other one I had was ESA 41. So they are my new go-tos, as well as that Kate Crane one that Nat had on her bench. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to stamp with this now. And I'm just creating some backgrounds to then build on my stamps. On my cards, sorry. Now I've dirtied up my ink pad here, but that's okay. It'll go away. A little bit down there and a little more up there. So you can't see that on the screen. I swear it's there, don't worry. Grabbing my piece of card back, and then again, I'm just going to do the one colour this time. Salvage Patina is one of my favourite Tim Holtz colours. It's the only one that I have in every product available. So there we go. So I'll pop that back aside, and we will heat set those before we start on our next two cards. So if you haven't seen me create before and you're new here, I haven't seen... Oh, hello, Sandy. If you're new here, you haven't seen me create before, I don't do grunge often. It's not my go-to. I do bright colours. I am going to do a grungy couple of cards today. All right, so we're going to pop these here, and I'm going to get my embossing heat gun. So I'm just going to heat that up for a little bit. Now, what I like to do, a little tip here, is with as soon as you put your heat gun onto here, it will start to blow away some of the crystals. What I like to do is come from underneath, and it just allows those crystals to heat up from underneath and start to set, so they won't exactly blow away when I start. So the key with embossing is to slowly move your heat gun around. You need to melt those crystals. I'm going to have to put this down in a second because I'll burn my hand. It does get quite hot. So just moving it, you'll be able to see them. If you haven't used embossing powders or glazes before, you'll be able to see them change. It's quite significant change, and they will set on the page. Once your heat gun's up to temperature, it does work quite quickly. All right. So what these will do is they will create a resist for the ink that I'm going to pop on here. So let's keep going with that. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab out some paper towel, and I'm going to use some Tim Holtz sprays. Could have used a puppy training pad, would soak this up much better, but they're so big that they don't fit on the screen when I'm recording. So I'm going to do one at a time. So let's see here. So I do have Uncharted Mariner. I'm sticking with the blues and some Broken China. Now the oxides do need to have a shake. Now these are Tim Holtz, so they are 15% off for today only. There will be a new special tomorrow. All right, so this is such an easy way to create card backgrounds. So all I'm going to do now, I'm just going to pop a piece of paper up over here to protect my devices. So I'm going to spray a little bit of that. And I have done nothing to the background of these, so it's soaking in quite nicely. And that's my oxide spray. Nice and easy. Now when that dries, so on top of this, let me bring this up to camera. And there is a little bit of a delay. So you can see that the spray is beading on top of the embossing glaze. So that won't actually sit there. When that's dry, I'll be able to wipe that off. I'll pop this aside down here, and we'll do something with this one. So this one, I'm going to use my inks. Now, I did say I would do a bit of a grungy one, so this is probably as grungy as I'm going to get. All right, so I'm going to start with quite a dark colour. Yep, I'll start with a dark colour. So, yes, that's, you can't play along at this time. You can't find your embossing stamp pad. I'm not, oh, hello, Susie. You got an outage of work. Oh, well, perfect timing. That circle stencil is called, from Dina Wakeley, called Connected Dots. It is one of my favourites. And, oh, Sandy, we are only doing embossing glaze on 2. So if you've got some stencils and some card, you can play along, just using oxide. So I'm using ground espresso, and I'm just using a little bit here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to create a mixed media background, and I'm starting with my darkest colour first. So you can see there, I've been very gentle with my ink because, as Nat said, the darker colours, this one does need a bit of a re-ink. Darker colours can scare you. They scare me. But you know what? As Nat says, it's only paper. If you don't like it, turn it over. So look at that. That's beautiful. So if you keep dipping into your oxide mess that you've got down here, you're going to create, if you've ever seen Tim Holtz do these, it's actually mesmerizing. Each layer, if I dry that quickly and then dunk it back in, those dots there, that it's going to pick up and it's going to create another mark. Let me dry that really quickly. All right, so that's dry. So what I'm going to do is I might just do a really quick little spray here. So I've got beadlets on my mat here. You can't see it because it's brown, but as I pop this down, it's going to create another layer on top of there. So let me show you. So you can see I've got extra layers. And it's a good way of cleaning up your messy mat too. All right. So can you see how we've got a bit of a interesting background happening? Now, I'm going to clean up that really quickly just so I can do another colour. And I'm going to go with Vintage Photo, and I'm going to do the same thing. I think this one's a bit juicier. Oh, did I just use Vintage Photo? No, I didn't. All right. So I can make all the pretty cards in the world, but as a mum with 2 boys, I tend to have a need for more boy cards. Blake's got 2 birthday parties this weekend. One is for a girl, which was lovely to use my girl cards. But I do try and have a stash of boy cards in my stash because I always need them. All right, so that's looking quite good. So we've got something grungy and vintagey happening there. And those blues and the browns, Nat is right, they do go well together. I'm just going to dry that a little bit because I do have a bit more beading on there. That's good enough. All right, now I'm just going to pick up those last little droplets. They really do create like an interesting background for something that's just so simple. All right, now I'm going to bring in a bit of blue. So I have Blueprint Sketch, I'm a blues person, so I have all the shades of blue that you can think of. Now, these are all oxides, so as you add water to the oxides, they oxidize, which gives them a chalky look. So I want to bring the blue in up around the corners, so I'm going to be particular where I pop that. Oh, yes. Or maybe I won't be particular. It looks good. Oh, that's nice. I've got a little bit of too much liquid there, so I'm just going to use my paper towel. And this is a great thing to do if you have creative block. Pop down some inks, grab some backgrounds, and just have a play. Mix your colours. If you like something that works, you could do it on an ATC size thing. If you see something that works, you might want to bring that into an art journal or a scrapbooking page, or make a whole heap of them. That's lovely. I love that. I'm going to dry that and then pick up the rest of this. We've got a bit of a browny blue thing happening because as I've added the liquid to this, the browns reacted again. So this is the last live for the day. There are more tomorrow and more specials tomorrow. So if you're just joining me, welcome. I am Naomi and I'm one of the brand ambassadors for Natalie May Scrapbooking, and I'm just filling in for Nat for this afternoon. And we're creating some card backgrounds using our Tim Holtz products. So I really love that. Oh, thanks, Nat. That look how grungy I'm getting, guys. Karen, you would be so, so impressed. All right. So I think I'm going to leave that. We'll come back and do some stamping and finish that one off. I'm going to clean my, my mat here. And then we're going to do the same thing with some bright colours. And then we'll come back to our stenciling. So 15% off stencils is a lovely opportunity for you to top up on some of those stencils you've seen me, Nat, Jackie, Tegan playing with, or ones you've had your eye on for a while. I've lost my cards. Here they are. And we are going to have a good play with some shortly. I'm just doing the base here. So let's bring out my brights. So I have mustard seed, which I haven't even used yet. I'm going with the warm colours. And the reason I'm using my warm colours, mustard seed, barn door, picked raspberry, and crackling campfire. Excuse me. The reason I'm using those colours is because I want to mush them together and I don't want to create brown. I'm done with my brown, so I'm going with my colours. So nothing but a good weight cardstock there. And we're just going to do the same thing. And we're going to layer in colours now. This is where I'll get excited by all these colours. All right. So you could swipe through that, and maybe the next one I will swipe. So I put a lot of liquid on there. Ooh, isn't that a beautiful colour? And all those little droplets that you get on the side there are fantastic. I'm going to dry that because look at all that colour, and I want to pick that up in the next layer. So if you've just finished work for the afternoon and you didn't catch the lives earlier, go back and have a look at what Nat's been creating. I've been watching her all day from my couch and doing some linking for her. So all the products on the lives. Oh, I've got a special hair in there. All the products that Nat used are linked within the live, so you don't have to go searching for them. All right, so that's a lot of yellow. And I'm not even going to bother cleaning that. I'm going to go straight in with my, well, this is a Ready Orange Crackling Campfire. I'm going to do a little bit, and I don't mind that it meshes. Nat's last live that she did with the chipboard tags, amazing. Oh, look at that. So I love making tags. I make tags all the time. So I'm going to make myself some tag books. Definitely. Look at that. Like you could leave that like that. I'm not going to, and I'm going to use a lot of this as well. Going to dry it off because drying it off in between gives us the layered effect. Now, girls, if you're getting new colours of Tim Holtz in the sales today, make sure you grab yourself a re-inker. Or if you haven't got re-inkers for your other ones, make sure you grab those, because the last thing you want to do is grab out one of your colours and go to use it and it's dried up. They do last a while, but you want to have it nice and juicy. So you buy them both together, saves you doing that. Look at that. That's great. All right, next one. I'm only going to go in with a little bit of Barn Door, which is your red. So I'm only half pressing on my mat here. You could do that on a bit of acetate as well and kiss it onto the page. I just thought it was easier just to do it on here. All right. And I'm going down the bottom. Ooh. I'm focusing down the bottoms to get my darker colours down there and up that top corner. Around the side. So it does react the other colours each time you do that. So I'll quickly dry that one. And we'll pick up those last bits of interest. I will bring these up to camera when they're finished, because you can see the layers in this. It's so fantastic. Now, what am I going to put on top, you say? What am I going to add to these? Well, besides some stamping and some stenciling and all that sort of thing, I'm also going to add a focal point. Now, I've got a range of focal points that I've pulled out. I didn't have many paper rose ones left because I use paper rose all the time. The ones that Nat was using earlier. So, sorry, this is Picked Raspberry. And it is stunning. Picked Raspberry. I might even add a little bit of a blue in here in a minute. I'll see how I go. And that's turning a little taffy colour. So we're almost creating our own colours. All right, so I'm going to pop that one aside now. And I'm going to clean this off. And we're going to go again. So this time I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do a swiping. So just see what you can get with the swiping. And I'm going to start with same colours. Ooh. No, look. So I do have Wild Honey in a spray. There is a spray stain. You don't have to spray with these. And to be honest, spraying with these when I'm at my desk, unless I've prepared everything, it's a little bit daunting because I'll get spray everywhere. So unless I'm prepared, I don't use my sprays like that all the time. There's different ways you can use it. So this is a distress stain. You can mix and match them, and I do all the time. There's no issue. They just have a different look. So what I'm going to do is swipe through this. So I'm going to hold the edge of my tag card, and I'm going to swipe. So I've got a very different effect, and I'm going to hold this side and swipe again. Whoops. Sorry. Moved my whole camera. And swipe again. And then I'll just pick up those bits on the end there. So wild honey is a bit of a deeper colour. And you can see I've got a little bit of left over there. Now I'm going to quickly dry that, and then I'm going to add some oxides over the top as well. And I'm not completely drying it. I'm just taking the wetness out of it. So they normally say you're an oxide person or a distressed person. I'm an oxide person. I do have some of the distressed stains, as you can see, but I do like the oxides. I like the oxidization it gives. I like the finish it gives. But you can mix them. So here we go. Swiping that orange through. And we're getting a completely different look here. We've got that on the end. Dip that on the end. Lovely. All right. So drying between layers still, because we want to build those layers up. This is, I love doing this. I could sit here with mixed media products and create backgrounds all afternoon. So these dark marks that are in my paper here, that's just the paper fibers a bit wet, probably where I bent them. But as this dries properly, that will go away. You won't be able to see that. All right, let's go into, now I don't want to lose too much, so I'm going to go a little bit of barn door, and I'm just going to do a kind of a swipe along there. I don't want a heap of red, and I want to bring in my pink next. So again, swiping. Oh, I probably could have gone a little bit more. But I just got a tinge of it, which is okay. All right, next, picked raspberry. So I'll do a bit more of the picked raspberry. Now, sorry, I've got carried away creating. That's okay, Nat. You don't have to link for me. Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, layering one colour has a very good effect too, Sandra, so you could do that. Oh, nice, so you finished work and lead into the weekends. All right, let's get on to this. So swiping. So I didn't swipe a lot there, and I don't really like that. So I just can add a bit of water and drip it. And then I'll swipe down there, swipe up the top. I'm liking that. I've got defined colours, but I've still got my layers happening. I will dry that quickly and pick that up, and then we'll have a look at the different ones. And then we'll go on to our stenciling of our gessoed ones. Now, ladies, if you didn't catch the lovely Neve Bailey on the community group, excuse me, last night, be sure to go and check that out. She did an amazing free class for us. gave up her time once the kids were in bed to create a fantastic layout in your book. You could do it in any one. All right, so let's have a look at those two. So there are two backgrounds with the same colours, different techniques, same products, a little bit of a stain there. If I wanted to bring back a bit of the yellow, I could do that too. And what I might do with this one, just move this aside because I use the stain. I'm going to use this as a splatter. I love splatters. I could use them. And this is just another way to get some interest. So that will sit there and soak in and create another layer. I even have a bit of saltwater taffy in an oxide. And because I've got that pink there, let's add a little bit of that too. So we've got some oxide splatters and some distress splatters. Yeah, that goes perfect. All right. I literally put splatters on everything. I need to be told sometimes when it's enough. All right, so they're our two backgrounds for our just our swipey backgrounds. I'll put those down. I'm going to bring this one back. Now, this is dry in the background, but I've still got, just going to grab a paper towel. I can still see the beads from the Distress Glaze. So what I'm going to do is just wipe it back. So it's only picking up the ink that's sitting on top of that glaze. So it creates a resist and gives you something different in the background. So I want to build on this a bit more. And I do want to do some more layers. So let's bring Barn Door and Vintage Photo back again. Oh, sorry, Blueprint Sketch. So just a different blue. And let's layer that up. Oh, yeah. These are like, because you don't know what you're going to get when you do this, it's like playing with the magicals. I'm constantly surprised at what you get when you turn over your page. I'm like a kid watching fireworks. Oh, I love that. And then I'm going to bring in a bit of the brown. Yes, I'm doing brown again, Karen. All right, just a little bit. I do need to find my re-inker because you don't want that to happen to you. Just because the blues and browns go so nicely together. Yeah. And I know Seth Apter uses the blues and browns, so that's going to be fantastic. If you haven't booked in for Seth Apter and you can get to Adelaide in April next year, make sure you jump on. There's not many spots left, and it is for sure an event not to be missed. Oh, look at that. That's fantastic. I might even go a bit more. Actually, look, I'm going to go ground espresso, the darker one. Look at me getting brave. All right. So dunking, I want to bring a bit of depth to my corners. So I'm getting that darker color in there. Oh, look at that. Oh, no, that's never going to happen, Karen. I still love my colors, but I can appreciate, there's got to be blue in it. I can appreciate that people like brown and vintage. It's just not me. All right. That's great. So we're getting little, because of the glaze, we're getting our liquids running through the glaze and it's keeping our colours there. I'm just going to hit that with the heat gun really quickly. It is quite wet because I've got a lot here that could go on there. So picking that up, getting those dots, that interest. You can see my colour has gone through to the back, but that's okay. It will dry. Maybe not today, but it will dry. So this is all about our backgrounds. Let me bring that one up. So you can see there's a glaze to it. If I hold it towards my light, there's a glaze and there's a rustic browny blue element to it. All right. So that's our two backgrounds, completely different with our glazes. So if you missed me saying that at the beginning, the glazes are up to 30% off depending on which ones you pick. So make sure you grab yourself a bargain for those. Let's pop those down and let's grab out our gessoed backgrounds. All right, so what I'm going to do with the gessoed backgrounds is I'm going to do, what have I got for my elements? Oh, I might grab a purple. Look out. Okay. So I have got some cut elements, and I'll just show you what I do have here. I've got some Art by Marlene luxury animals, I think they are. I've got Tim Holtz Dead People, as Nat calls them. Mine are all just bunched in. I think there's a whole heap of them in there. They might be too big, but we'll see. 15% off for those ones. And these are the ones Nat used earlier, which have lots of cool things in them that I might like to use as well. See how we go. I also have done some pre-fussy cutting of some of Nat's cuttables. So if you haven't got Nat's cuttables, grab some, cut them out, because you never know when you're going to need them. So this is from, if you've seen me create before, I love the Alice in Wonderland stuff. So I've cut those out. These are the Mod Girls, which come in black and white. We've got the Cheshire Cat, and we've got one of these. So that might go on my grungy one. So I always like to have a little collection of cuttables to do that with. All right, I did get some collage paper out, but I think I've changed my mind. So I'm going to do a bit of a swipey here and see what it does. So I'm going to swipe. That could have been juicier. There we go. Just have to hold it better. And I'm going to swipe a bit of this blue on. Now, I wouldn't go over your colours with the stains. The oxides seem to be a bit more forgiving. You can, like I've gone over there, and there was definitely no purple on my blue mat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my stencil. Now, I've got a few of my favourite stencils that I've grabbed out. And, which one am I going to use? So these are a couple of my favourite stencils from a few different brands. That was the Dina Wakley Connected Dots. The Vicky Bouton stencils are excellent value for money because you get 3. So I've got the Love Heart. This is Print Shop, one of the Print Shop ones. So I've got those ones and that one. I've used that one a fair bit. I might even do this one or the Love Hearts. This is Art by Marlene Trio, something Trio. It is Mask 186B. And they have some great ones in them, which I use. This one I've used a lot. And this is a Paper Rose one, which is in the specials. And this is probably one of my first stencils I got, and I still use it. And it's Pinwheel. There's probably not many left, and actually, I might even use this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this on here. I'm going to grab my clean baby wipe, and I'm going to wipe that off. Now, I did have in mind to use that Mad Hatter's hat from Nat's Cuttables. Ah, look at that. How good is that stencil? So that is an absolutely easy way to make a background. Simple, easy, effective. Yes, Dina Wakley Connected Dots is still available. I looked on the website before I went on. It's definitely there. Unless it's been sold out from in the last 37 minutes. So check that out. Now, if I didn't gesso this, I wouldn't get that clean white look, and it may pull up my paper. So that's why I gessoed the back, because I'm putting liquid on, and then I've got... Now, if I didn't want that exact look and I wanted a bit more a drippy look, I could just add water. Do you want me to add water? Should I show you what it does? Or I could make some drips. What if I do some drips? So I'm just doing some very... Here we go. So there we go. Oxidized and reactivate with water. So that's a cool background. All right. Now the other one we're going to do is, again, so I might add, look, let's go back with my brights, and I'm going to go purple, pink, and red. So it's going to be quite a dark background. And let's layer this one up. Now, this is the gessoed background. Oh, there's a bonus hair. So because it's gessoed, it will react differently as well. So we've got a bit more movement in there. So I will dry that, pick that up, and we're going to layer this up. You can see where my gesso wasn't exactly perfect. Oh, thanks, Karen. Now, let me just show you. Look at these little beads of magic that have happened there. So you still get that cool effect in certain parts. All right, I think that's enough purple. Purple is not my favorite color. I don't mind a little bit. But... All right, so drying that off, and then I'm going to go in with some pink and some red. So look how interesting that background is. That's with one color. So I could just keep going and building that color. I'm not going to, because, you know, we'll have limits with purple. All right, I'm adding in the pink and doing exactly the same thing. Whoa. Gonna dry that, pick that up. Ha! I've had practice, Karen. All right. Look at that. Wow. Okay. See, I told you I was like a kid watching fireworks with how these come out. All right, I think that's enough. Clean that up. And then we'll finish with some red. And then we'll get our stencil back out. All right. Now, which stencil am I going to use? I think I'm going to use this Vicky Booten one. So it's Print Shop. I'm using the Love Heart from the Print Shop. All right. Same thing. Dipping in. Getting that red. Now, I'm going to dry this layer. Yeah, no, I'll dry it. Keep drying it. You can see down here I didn't properly gesso, so it's reacting very differently. And we've got a bit of a purpley mauve happening with these colour combinations, because each time I pop it back in the liquid, we're reactivating. All right, I think that's enough. I'm going to clean that off. Dry that, and then we're going to bring that stencil in. Now, this is taking me a bit longer than I thought, but that's okay. All right, let's pop this stencil over here. Juicy baby wipe. Let's see what happens when we, yep, that's what I wanted. All right, so lifting that off, and there we have a Love Hearty distress background. And I'm a stencil cleaner, so I like to clean my stencils straight away. All right, let's pop those aside. So they're two different backgrounds with our stencils and our oxides. Pop those over there, and let's finish up a couple of these cards. So this one's a bit too wet to work on, so I'm going to pop something on this one. Now, I'm going to do some quick stamping. This is that ESA 40, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab out this. I've used this a lot already, and I got it last week. I'm going to pop a bit of... Before I do that, I want to give my... I'm going to grab my blending brush, Uniquely Creative blending brush. I'm going to grab my brown back, and I'm going to give myself a bit of a edge. So I'm coming in, like Nat said earlier, I'm coming in from the edge of, edge of my mat, just to give my card an edge. So you could do this on a art journal page, you could do it on a scrapbooking page, if you do mixed media scrapbooking, which is the way I tend to go these days, you could do that exact technique. With a scrapbooking page, you probably want to put the ink on the acetate and kiss it onto your page rather than doing what I've done with the card, but you'll get the same effect. Now, using those numbers from that stamp set, I'm going to create just a bit of stamping. Gives us a bit of interest, bit of depth. And then we will have where's my cuttables? So you could pop on a dead person, but I think this one deserves this. And I'm going to grunge up that white. I'm just going to use this. Just getting rid of that whiteness on there. I have to say this one's probably the best fussy cutting I've done. Otherwise it's not normally that intricate, or those gears are normally missing. And we'll pop him on there, and I've got so much stuff out that I can't find the things I put aside for the session. And I've got my little dots, my Couture Creation dots. I'm going to pop him up. These ones are fantastic for card makers, scrapbookers. They are $3.85, I believe. And that's the end of that one. Now, sentiments. Paper Rose always bring out a sentiments pack. I have the gaming one. I also have the ones that say happy birthday, which I've had for a few years. But we also have some from Natalie May Scrapbooking. So let's have a look. This is the happy birthday sentiments. And I just want a small one because this guy's so big. I just want something small down the bottom there. So I'm just going to grab that happy birthday there. So I won't finish all these cards off on the live because I'm sure everyone's got to go and organise their weekend and prepare their dinner and all that sort of jazz. My oldest boy and my husband are off to the football tonight. Hopefully they come home with a smile. I'm grunging that white up again. And then I will use my art glitter glue. Pop that down there. In the corner. Take off this guy. And I do have a card ready somewhere. So just, yep, there we go. And then I'll do one of the bright ones before we go. I've still got 10 minutes. It is amazing all the things you can do, isn't it? Thanks, Alana. Oh, you're going to feed the horses. How lovely. Oh. Okay. All right, so pop that on there. I really love this card, I have to say. So all I do there is I've got my card front and I will stick that on there like that. Oh, thanks, Wendy. All right, so that's one. Let me go on to one of my brighter ones. Oh, look, let's go with this one. We want to finish it off. All right, so I'm not going to use that number stamp. I'm going to use, make sure that's dry, yep. And for this one, I'm going to use that one. All right, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to get out my mini inks. So if you haven't got these tins, you need to get them. They are fantastic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab maybe a purple. I really don't want to use purple, but I might use a blue. So I might use, or maybe I'll darken it up and use Balmy Night. All right, so the tins today are Tim Holtz tins. So they are on special, 15% off, just saying. But these little mini inks are great. So I'm not looking for the perfect impression. Yeah. So I'm just giving a bit of depth to my card there. A bit of Balmy Night. Clean that off. And then what I will do is grab my... I have one thing for permanent ink. I don't put permanent ink on any others except for this one. And I normally only use black, but as this is a dark colour, I'll allow it. Only because it doesn't wash off and I don't want to have permanent ink on all of my blending tools, but you just sometimes need a blending tool with permanent ink on it. All right, so that is that one. And then bringing out our, so I could put the cat would go okay. The hat, let's pull out some of these luxury people would also, I'm sure there's, oh, they're not luxury people. These are the luxury animals, I think. That cat really does work well, but we've got a monkey. What else have we got? Oh, that one goes good. Sink or swim. I think I have it. Let's have a look here. You like the hat? Yeah, I thought the hat's pretty cool. Oh, thanks, guys. I do love these. I have already used some of these. I like the balloons. Oh, I used the big balloons. So this is a pack that Nat used earlier. I do like that flower too. I might just pop it out. It might be too bright. Let's have a look. If I can get it out. All right, let's see. Out the way. Oh no, that's not big enough. Okay, I don't want to fluff around with that. So let's go with the hat. And I'm going to pop it on an angle. Grab me some sticky darts. And then grab a sentiment. Honestly, if you're an Alice fan, and I am, although I think I'm more an Alice fan now that Nat's brought out her collage papers and cuttables, I swear they're my most used items ever. Congratulations on getting old. I might just use So Old But Still Hot AF. I might use one of these ones down the bottom. This happy birthday one in black. So that pack was the Blokey birthday sentiments, and they are in the Natalie May cuttables section. Yep, that works well. So why I'm finishing up, thank you for joining Natalie May Scrapbooking on the second day of the Great International Craft Show. It has been a pleasure to create with you this afternoon. And don't forget, we have the specials go to midnight tonight for today, for Friday only. And there'll be new specials tomorrow. So 15% off stencils. There are some exclusions, but 15% off stencils, 15% off Tim Holtz products. So that includes the sprays, the inks, the re-inkers, and all the other things that have his name on them. The tins, anything that says Tim Holtz, 15% off, I believe, most of it. And 15% off paper rose. And I know there's been people shopping up a storm with paper rose because some of the papers I wanted were out of stock already. So yes, and we've also got the big clearance. Now, if today is your first day of ordering and you're wondering if you can get something tomorrow, you can order today and you'll get a code. So you pay for shipping today, $11.95, and you'll get a code in your receipt order that you get, your order confirmation, and that code gives you free shipping for the rest of the weekend. So Nat and Louise will collate your orders so you get one package, beautifully wrapped as always, and you only pay for shipping once. So jump onto that opportunity and make sure that you put your code in when you check out a second time. So there's our other card. I'll finish the rest off and pop up a photo. And we hope to see you online tomorrow for 9 o'clock Adelaide time for a coffee and a chat and to see the new specials with Nat in the morning. So thanks, guys.